Good morning. I hope everyone is doing well. It's Patrick Lee, your host, and it's time for today's episode of Midweek Motivation Live. I hope everyone is doing well. We're coming out of a winter squall, a little snowstorm this weekend. Some cold days we've had behind us. It's still cold today. This is the third week of January 2025. Donald Trump is your president. In case you didn't know, he was just sworn in on Monday of this week. I was in Red River, New Mexico at the ski lodge, and we actually watched that inauguration ceremony happen that morning before we checked out to head home through the winter squall that hit Amarillo and many of the parts here across the South. Good morning, Miss Gina. So great to see you on here today. I am drinking my roaster's coffee in my Fire Slice coffee cup. Thank you, Miss Gina Blair from Fire Slice Pizza. And Cody will be on here as well, and the crew down there watching the show. Roasters, black and tan coffee in my Fire Slice pizza cup. Hello, Terry McCaffrey, my brother from another mother, but the same daddy. I love you today. It's good to see you on here. Today's show going to be the conundrum between wealth and happiness on Midweek Motivation Live. What does that mean? Is there a problem with wealth and happiness? Does money make you happy? Does it make you unhappy if it's removed? We're going to talk about that today. Finding true happiness, understanding what wealth is, and maybe what wealth is not on Midweek Motivation Live, now on all major podcast platforms. We have been now for the last year and a half, Midweek Motivation Live, wherever you go to download or listen to, consume your podcast content. You can find Midweek Motivation Live with Patrick Lee. Search for it by that name, and you can find us. And as announced in the past, today is our first sponsored episode of Midweek Motivation Live. We have been leading up to this for the last couple of weeks. Hello, Shane, my brother. Miss Jackie, good to see you all on here watching as well. People liking and loving the show already, as we are live nationally and around the world on Midweek Motivation Live. And if you consume your content on YouTube, you will find the Midweek Motivation Live channel on YouTube as well. A lot of you are YouTube nuts, maybe like I am. I don't watch much network TV at all. I don't binge watch episodes of any show hardly ever. I watch a lot of YouTube, off-grid, ASMR videos, things that help me calm down, relax, relieve anxiety, and perhaps regulate my sleep patterns. Much like the sponsor of today's show, which is Stellar CBD products. I actually have the box right here in front of me. We'll see how well this looks on the camera there. Look at this shiny box. When you order from Stellar CBD products, your first order will come in a box, maybe like this one, maybe not. With your first round of products, I have my first round of products. I have been using them, trying them out to see how well I like the products, if they work for me, and if I would like for them to sponsor Midweek Motivation Live with your host, Patrick Lee. And the products I started out with are a CBD cooling gel. This is a roll-on stick, much like some other companies maybe use something in the past like BioFreeze. This is much better. An amazing aroma and works great for inflammation, pain in your wrist, which is actually where I use it. There's also, I started out with a warming CBD salve stick, and perhaps you need a little pain relief in a specific area. A full spectrum CBD gel cap, which I absolutely love. Looks a lot like a vitamin E capsule. If you've seen those gel caps, full spectrum CBD gel, and you're like, Patrick Lee, what in the world are you talking about? Absolutely. And then an assorted fruit CBD gummy. Has Patrick been trying gummies? Yes, he has. From this company, Stellar. I have been telling you, stellar people, stellar products from a stellar company. And as I have used these for the last 45 days, I have found that they have made a difference in my life. These are non-GMO, gluten-free, GMO-free products, and they are all from this company called Stellar. Stellar is not just a CBD company, and you're like, Patrick, what is CBD? Cannabidiol. It's not pot. It's not marijuana. It's made from a pure strain of a hemp plant that marijuana does not come from. You're like, Patrick's a pothead. Well, I was raised in pot country in the Oregon coast, but I kind of left for that reason. I'm not a pothead. I'm not a hippie. I'm not a tree lover, although I love trees, but that is not what CBD is all about. And those of you that know CBD, have tried CBD products, will know that a great, pure, full spectrum CBD product can work wonders with your body to help you relieve stress, anxiety, regulate sleep, improve intimacy. Could be anything. But Stellar was formed for that reason. They have a philosophy of elevating wellness, if you want to elevate your wellness. And they use a complete holistic approach to do this. These people are trailblazers in holistic CBD products and their production. They curate premium CBD products crafted to enhance your health journey. CBD products can definitely help you in many things in your life. They infuse these products with the finest quality CBD from sustainable organic hemp farms, all grown in Oregon, where I was born and raised. I got hit Texas as soon as I could, shortly after I turned 20 years old, and I've been here ever since. But if you want to know where great CBD products come from, they actually come from the Pacific Northwest, the state of Oregon, which has actually the best environment to grow CBD products. And these are all organic hemp farms, completely sustainable. Synergizing CBD with chemicals and cutting edge formulas ensures maximum efficacy. Stiller is more than a brand, it's a beacon guiding individuals to elevate wellness and vitality. Elevate your wellness with Stellar's CBD infused living products. Everyone has, and I didn't know this until I started talking about or learning about CBD products. And this is not a CBD show, okay? But I want to give you just a short amount of education. Everybody has an endocannabinoid system in their body, much like your nervous system, your regulatory, your circulatory system. You have an endocannabinoid system in your body that was discovered back in the 90s by an Israeli researcher, Dr. Ralph Mechoulam, about 1993, 1994. The human body has these two types of cannabinoid receptors, and they play an important role in our immune system, glucose metabolism, insulin resistance, and blood formation, believe it or not. These receptors also play a role in cognition, memory, mood, motor functions, sensory, autonomic, and neurocrine responses. So CBD products and a combination of CBG products, all formulated by Stellar, can help you with many different things in your life. They only use a CO2 extraction method, which is the most widely regarded, purest, and safest efficient method for extracting CBD from these specialized hemp plants, ensuring that Stellar products are free from solvents, impurities, and other chemicals. They also have products that do include certain mushroom derivatives for additional customized results, and they even have a product for your pets. Do your dogs have anxiety, nervous tics, maybe sleep problems? They actually have a product at Stellar for your pets as well. So if you have been interested in exploring the use of CBD products to help you with sleep, anxiety, effects of stress, pain, or even improved intimacy, try Stellar today. If you've been using a CBD product that does not seem to give you the relief or effects that you desire, try Stellar. To start your subscription today, go to www.getstellar.com and enter the code Patrick20. That is all caps, Patrick20. I'm putting it up on the screen. You'll get 20% off your first order at Stellar. Elevate your wellness. There you go. Midweek Motivation Live with Patrick Lee is a sponsored company. Stellar. I am using the products. I do need to order some more. I do still have plenty of a couple of them. And I will just tell you from personal experience, I sleep better. My sleep is more regulated. I have started dreaming again, and not crazy dreams, peaceful, encouraging, uplifting dreams that I had not dreamed in years. My sleep, I feel more rested when I wake up. I do use some of the products as well, like I said, for random bouts of pain, discomfort in joints and things like that. And they are effective and they do work. They're working for me, and I was an anti-CBD guy. So let me tell you, Stellar has won me over. Stellar products from a stellar company. And now into the show today, the correlation between wealth and happiness. Is it a conundrum? Maybe, maybe not. But I'm here to give you this midweek boost to help you realign your thinking, maybe boost you up a little bit for the rest of the week and into the beginning of next week. So let me ask you something. What's your definition of happiness? And how does wealth factor into that? A lot of you have asked me questions about this in the past. If I only made more money, I'd be less stressed and maybe I'd be a little more happy. Many of you have found out that as you have chased after wealth and have acquired great amounts of wealth, that you have reduced receding amounts of happiness that goes along with that. And that's what I kind of want to talk to you about today. I have 5 college age students watching, sharing with this class about communication skills. Any points? Watch and listen. Yes, definitely points. And have them watch many of the shows. Actually, for the last 3 weeks, we've done a lot of shows that talk about being an active listener, how to be a more empathetic listener and speaker. A lot of these things can help your students there, Pastor Frank. Appreciate you commenting and sharing the show. Other people in your class have reached out to me and started following the show based on your recommendation. Thank you for that, Pastor Frank. I really appreciate that. Is money the root of all evil? Yeah, the Bible kind of says the love of money is the root of all evil. Can money make you happy? It can sure make your misery more enjoyable, right? Some people have said it that way. I was listening to a podcast the other night, and I was actually able to comment on another person's podcast, and they were talking about this, about money and people talking about money, and if you have money that you could be evil. And I said, hey, listen, money isn't everything, but neither is poverty. Okay. There's nothing wrong with having a little money in your life, but is money what you should use to define happiness? I don't agree. How does wealth factor into happiness? Many people believe that the more money they have, the happier they'll be. I don't agree. Is that true? Today, we're going to unpack some of this correlation between wealth and happiness, and more importantly, the difference between them. By the end of today's episode, you should have a more clear picture of how to build a life that's both financially stable and emotionally full and fulfilling to your life, your relationships, your spirit man. Let's dive in. Point number 1 that I want to make today is this: define happiness. Let's understand wealth and its role first, okay, before we can do that. Let's talk about what wealth really is. At its core, wealth is a tool, a resource that gives you access to opportunities. We've talked about this in the past. And wealth is a finite resource. It's not something we have an unlimited amount of. It's a resource that we can use based on the amounts that we have to help other people, right? It helps fulfill our life, and it helps us lead to fulfilling the lives of others around us, right? It gives us access to opportunities. It gives us access to comfort and security. For many of us, financial stability can help reduce stress and open doors to better living conditions, right? It can help us have or achieve a better education or have access to better health care. But here's the thing: beyond that certain point, wealth starts to lose its power when it comes down to making us happy. I just believe that. You will hear many wealthy people tell you that there is um, this lessening of happiness as sometimes as wealth increases, there is a decrease in happiness. Jackie says, happiness for me is being worry free no matter what you're going through. That comes from having confidence in God. Number 1, I agree with Miss Jackie. She's always happy every time I see her. Good morning, Pete. Good to see you watching the show again, too, my brother, Pete. I love that. But can money make us happy? Studies show that once our basic needs are met, additional income only marginally increases our overall happiness. Why is that? Because money can buy convenience, it can buy education, it can buy health care, but it cannot buy consolation or contentment. Ask yourself this: are you pursuing wealth as a means of freedom? Are you working so hard now so that you can sit on your gluteus maximus and not work in the future? Are you working now to accumulate a large amount of wealth so you can coast for the rest of your life? Is that how you have defined happiness? If I just make enough money, I won't have to work anymore. I think that would be a very boring life. And I think that's probably what leads to this reduced amount of happiness, the marginally growing happiness level that comes with a large amount of money. The happiness only grows in a very small amount to go along with that. Money can buy convenience, but it can't buy contentment, right? There's a big difference in that. Are you equating money with your personal value? I would not recommend you do that either. So learning to recognize that is step number one. Defining happiness really comes down to this. We're gonna define happiness. Okay. Unlike wealth, happiness isn't a tangible thing. It's a state of being that's influenced by your spirit, man, your mindset, the relationships you have, the personal growth you're experiencing, and sense of purpose in life. If you want to make enough money now to coast for the rest of your life, your sense of purpose goes away. And without a sense of purpose, what are we here for? Living a life of no purpose has got to be one of the most lonely existences known to man, right? I just could not imagine. Now, would I love to go live on a Caribbean deserted island with the people that I love for a couple of years? If I could, absolutely. That's been a dream of mine since I was a young boy on the Oregon coast. The beaches over there are cold and rough and stormy. And I would much rather live on a tranquil Caribbean island somewhere with a lapping surf and 85 degrees every day and coconuts and bananas and fresh water from a stream and just enjoy that for a while. But while I'm doing that, I'm probably going to be building cabins, and my first church and my second church, and cabins, preachers will get that joke, and and room for the other people around me. And then I'm going to want to start bringing other people to help me, because that purpose can't be just consumed upon myself, right? I just couldn't do that. I could do it for a short time, but my purpose would bring me out of that and say, I've got to get back to living, to doing other things that I'm put on this earth to do, right? Think about the joy of reconnecting with an old friend, the sense of accomplishing something after finishing a project, or a peace that comes from practicing gratitude when you're in the company of other people that you know, love, and trust, right? None of those things are tied to money, and none of those things can happen if you have checked out because you've made enough money to lose your purpose. I hope this is making sense to you. True happiness comes from those other things rooted in the intangible, spiritual aspects of life, our attitude, our values, our ability to live in the present with the people around us. Here's a challenge for you this week. Think back on the moments in your life when you felt truly happy. Were they tied to money, or were they about something much deeper than that? When you went to Vegas, when you went to Napa, when you went to Italy, when you went to Ohio, and you're able to do wonderful things that you enjoyed, was it the money that made you happy, or was it the people that you were with? The things that you're able to experience that really made you happy, the deep things, the connection things. I think those are the things that make us happy in those moments. The money is the tool that may help get us there, but it's not where the happiness comes from, right? Next, let's talk about the correlation between wealth and happiness. I believe that there is a correlation. I also believe that we're learning to identify the differences between wealth and happiness as well. Let's talk about how they're connected first. I don't think you can deny, like I said a minute ago, that money can improve happiness up to a point. It can ease the burden of debt and sometimes suffering because of pain or things that have gone on in your life that you need medical care for, that you can't deny those things, right? But it only helps to a point. It can ease some of those things, but it can't bring joy. It can help you experience things that may bring you some contentment and joy, but it itself, in and of itself, cannot bring the joy. It cannot provide a sense of security. For example, let's take a vacation, or you need to invest in your child's education. Those things can create meaningful memories and opportunities, but here's the catch with that: wealth isn't the same as well being. People who chase money without addressing their emotional, spiritual, or relational health often feel empty, even when they have everything, seemingly. I've got it all, but I don't have happiness. I've got it all. I'm in the middle of this mansion and I drive fancy cars, but in the middle of the night, I'm sitting here alone with my own thoughts, maybe contemplating suicide. How many times have we heard those stories? However, on the flip side, people who cultivate gratitude and purpose in their lives often feel happier, even with less. Think about this. What's one non-material thing in your life right now that consistently brings you joy? Some of you can name it and put it in the comments easily. What's one non-material thing in your life right now that consistently brings you joy? Hold on to that thought as we continue. The trap of wealth without purpose, or the wealth without purpose trap. Patrick, what are you talking about? This brings us to this very important point. The trap of pursuing wealth without a greater purpose. Too often we equate success with having more money, more possessions, more recognition. But if that pursuit isn't tied to your values or a deeper sense of meaning, it's going to leave you feeling unfulfilled and empty. There are countless stories of people who have achieved financial success, but found themselves lonely or burned out. Why? Because they were chasing the wrong goal. They were chasing the money and they thought the money was the key to the happiness, but it was not. Here's some advice. Take time to define what matters most to you. Is it the money or is it the experiences? Align your financial goals with your values here and here. Use your wealth not as an end in itself, but as a means to support a life that genuinely reflects who you are. Wealth without purpose is hollow and shallow, but wealth with intention, now that's something powerful. I hope you guys are enjoying this today. A lot of people are commenting. This is very true. Thank you. Amen. I love it. Very good. Let's redefine success for a second and talk about what success may really mean in your life. How do we break free from this cycle of chasing wealth for wealth's sake alone? By redefining what success and happiness means to us. Success isn't just about financial metrics. How many of you have ever had a growth plan, a building plan for your church, a financial goal for a sports team, and you drew the big poster board with the thermometer on it? And as you added more money to that, the thermometer grew, right? That's how we would gauge our success in a fundraiser when we were kids or when we were in school or when we're trying to build a church or grow a business, right? That's how we would define it. But success isn't about that financial metric. Oh, no, we just raised the bar a little bit. We raised a little more money. And when we get to the top of that thermometer, the mercury's going to come out and money's going to flow on all of us. And we have succeeded. That seems like that's what people's goal is, their end goal, but it really shouldn't be. Thank you, guys. You are a blessing to me as well. I am blessed to have you in my life. Thank you for the comments. What good is money if you're not healthy enough to enjoy it? What good is money if you don't have enough meaningful relationships like I do to enjoy those? What good is money if you have all of the money, but it can't prolong your life, right? Many people have died with fortunes left behind. You cannot take it with you. We've never seen that the bank, what do they call those things? The armored car carriers full of money. You've never seen one of those being towed behind a hearse, right? All of the money is going with you. It's not going with you. It will be left behind here on earth, where moth and rust do corrupt. They will eat it all up, right? You can't take it with you, and it's true. Success isn't just about how much you can get, right? It used to be the old adage or the joke about men was, right, he who dies with the most toys wins, right? We're all looking for the fancy truck, the car, the boat, the house, the mansion, but those aren't the things that really matter. What's the value of that luxury in your life if your relationships are falling apart? You achieved the wealth that you thought would make you happy, but all of a sudden your wife wants to take the wealth and go share that with another man. Your husband wants to take that wealth and go share it with another woman when you and he or you and she accumulated that together. because you've made so much money that you now don't feel like you have any boundaries together. You're no longer bound to the vows you made before God and man to that person. All of a sudden you realize that love of money, which is the root of all evil, gets tied to that amount of wealth. And if you are not faithful in the small amounts of wealth in your life, how in the world do you think you're going to be strong enough to resist the temptation of massive amounts of wealth in your life? I challenge my own self, as strong as I am in my faith and my relationships. I challenge my own thoughts and my own spirit to know that if I was suddenly endowed with millions of dollars from somebody, that it wouldn't make me crazy or make me a worse person, right? How many of you can honestly look inside yourself and say, man, if I was all of a sudden, I had $1 billion or even $10 million, that would I still be with the same spouse? Would I still have the same job? Would I still drive the same car? Or would I turn into a magnified representation of who I am inside? And that's a scary thought that many of us should think, right? Money is a magnifier of who you already are inside. If you're a wonderful person, kind, giving, loving, and caring, money will magnify that. And you will be a wonderful person, giving and caring about so many more people than yourself. But if you have evil motives in your heart and you're greedy, you're stingy, you're not giving, money's going to magnify that. And you're going to be a greedy, stingy, ungiving millionaire. And is that the definition of happiness? I certainly don't think so. I certainly don't think so. So, how do we break free from this cycle of chasing wealth for wealth's sake alone? By defining what success is and what happiness is to me. What is the value of luxury if I don't have the spouse? What is the value of money and if I don't have the relationships? What good is money if I'm not healthy enough to enjoy it? What's that value to me? To put this in perspective, try creating a success balance sheet on one. And I've told you to do this many times in the past. Get a piece of paper and draw a line from top to bottom, right down the middle. And line on one side, it's the pros. The other side, it's the cons, right? On one side of this success balance sheet, write down some of your financial goals. Then on the other side, list non-material areas of life, like family, health, spirituality, and love. Ask yourself, how rich do I feel in these areas? Be honest with yourself. This exercise will help you see where you need to invest, not just financially, but emotionally and spiritually and relationship wise as well. Real success is holistic. It's about living a life that feeds your soul and your spirit, man. It works for me. I believe that it can work for you. Let's recap what we've covered today. First, wealth is a tool, but we don't want it to make us a tool. It's not the destination, right? Second, happiness is an internal state shaped by gratitude, purpose, and relationships, not the wealth in and of itself. Thirdly, while wealth and happiness are connected, wealth alone won't bring you true joy. And lastly, real success is about balance. When you look at that piece of paper you've written on and you have the line down the middle of things like wealth on one side and then happiness on the other side, you will realize that the balance comes from the pendulum effect of you swinging back and forth from one to the other. Okay. If that pendulum swings over to the money side and it doesn't come back to the happiness side, you're going to be out of balance and you're going to fall over on your money. I don't think that's where we want to be either. But if we continue to let the pendulum swing over to the happiness and success side and only stay there, and we don't worry about or we don't cultivate our finances, we don't do the sowing and reaping that God has commanded us to do, we will soon find that the financial side of happiness will dry up and go away as well. So there is a balance, but it comes from that effect, the pendulum effect of utilizing both of these, growing both of those, both sides of that page. This week, I challenge you to ask yourself the question, right? How do I define success? Then how do I define how much wealth I need how big of an effect does that wealth have on how I define success? What does it mean to me, and how does the money tie into it? Think about those things, write them down, and start to pray about them. Ponder them, think about them as you move forward, and you will learn that that will start to guide your decisions. You'll be a much happier, wealthier person. Remember this: the richest people aren't those who have the most, they're the ones who need the least to feel successful. If this episode inspired you today, share it with someone who needs a midweek pick me up, a midweek motivation live moment. I've started to cut the show up into shorts, and I'm going to start posting more shorts throughout the week as well on YouTube and some other social media channels. But this is the long version every week. It gets uploaded to Buzzsprout later this afternoon. And then migrates out to all of the other podcast channels. But don't forget, you can go to YouTube as well. Subscribe to the Midweek Motivation Live channel there. And hopefully these small motivational minutes will help get you through the week. And you can commit some of them to memory and refer them to other people. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you go to consume content. Look for the Midweek Motivation Live channel. Leave me a review if you can, 5 stars, hopefully, if the show has helped you at all. And that would sure help me grow the show. Next week, we'll be bringing back more Midweek Motivation Live with a special guest. Stay tuned for that. Until then, keep building a life of wealth and success that leads to happiness, a life that truly matters. And at the end of the show, I will give you one more time. If you are interested in Stellar products, starting your own subscription, go to www.getstellar.com and use the code Patrick20 to get 20% off your first order of Stellar CBD products. Until next time, this has been Patrick Lee with Midweek Motivation Live. I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming back each and every week to watch, and all of the great comments. I will try to get on social media and respond to each and every one of them, and at least love your comment. I appreciate you. Until next time, I will see you again. Bye-bye.